This conference will now be recorded.
Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Nur Maulana Shah Karim Hussaini Hazir Imam. मुश्किल कुशा मेहरबान मौला मदद फरमा या मौला जो जिक्र किया गया तेरे हुजूर में मौला उसको कबूल फरमाना मौला या मौला मेहरबान मदद फरमाना मौला आमीन या रब्बल आलमीन या मदद to all friends.
Mudali Madat.
Molali Madat.
Shukr maula so who's reading today?
I am. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Mirage of Soul.
We are reading the book Ascent of Soul G.
Proof 2 and page number 6 on my ebook. According to chapter 32, verse 5, God regulates the command, Amr, i.e. the soul, from the heaven to the earth. Then it ascends to his presence. This means that it is the soul which descends from the heaven and ascends to it. And by the heaven is meant the spiritual heaven.
Subhanallah, Subhanallah. So it looks like a very simple point. We are talking about Surah Sajda, verse 5. And we are talking about in the context of Miraj of Prophet Muhammad. God regulates the command from the heaven to the earth, meaning the soul, the Amr, comes from Alam-e-Amr. There are two worlds, the world of command and the world of creation, which are called Alam-e-Amr and Alam-e-Khalq. With the Amr from the world of command, soul comes to the earth, from heaven to the earth. And we realize in the context of Miraj, when our Prophet received the Holy Spirit, it came from the heavens to the earth. Now, when we look at the journey of the soul, in reality, we do realize that every soul has come from Alam-e-Amr to Alam-e-Khalq. When Khuda Ta'ala said, Kun, to be, it became. What became? The soul came down from the heavens to the earth. Now, that same soul has to ascend to his presence. And that is what we are talking about. That in the personal world of our Paigambar, Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, his soul ascended to his presence. This means that it is the soul which descends from the heavens and ascends to it. And by the heaven is meant the spiritual heaven. There is no physical heaven as per se. Now, when we are reading about ascending and descending, Ruh comes down, it goes up. Again, it gives us the concept of a ladder. And we can always talk about ladder in the context of taqwa, that how we purify ourselves step by step with the fear of Allah to elevate our souls. We can also talk about hierarchy of the religion, which is not present in the form of a structure, but it does give us this comprehension that there are steps that we have to seek knowledge first as mustajib, become a mustajib, then continue to learn to elevate the ranks. When this physical structure is not present, how is it happening? All the elevation is actually happening in batin. When we talk of cycles, we also realize that Allah's one day is of 1,000 years. And in context of Prophet Muhammad, who was the sixth day of Allah, with the hukum, with the command of Allah, when the kun happened for that cycle, Amr came in. Physically, it takes time. Physically, it takes time to happen. But when Khuda Ta'ala says kun, it happens immediately. In fact, there is no happening as per se. He just has to think and it happens. Irada, and it happens and it becomes. So when we are understanding about soul, so sometimes we wonder, where did our soul come from? Where would it go when we die? It becomes very clear in the journey of knowledge that all the souls came from the heaven. And when the physical body leaves this world, the soul leaves the body and it goes to spiritual heaven, where it came from. However, the going up and the hereafter is also in Darjat. And very interestingly, Allama Sahib in one of his books talks about elevator. He says escalator, elevator. That when a Mu'min Salik starts the journey, it is like climbing every step. If we climb 2-3 flights, we may become breathless and it is hard to continue to climb up. In the beginning, it is very difficult. This journey in the beginning is very difficult because we are not in habit of learning ilm, doing zikr in abundance. All these riyazat is very difficult. But what happens with time, it becomes a habit. And then journey becomes as if we are sitting in an elevator. Now, imagine the speed. If you are taking the stairs, how long will it take for you to climb steps and reach to that 100th floor? Example of that world is given to us as a building having 100 floors. And if Imam's bungalow is on the 100th floor, and if you are taking the stairs, how long will it take? In the beginning, when we are climbing up the stairs, it may feel, oh, we will not survive. We will die. But then, miraculously, an elevator appears. And when we take the elevator, it's like kun fayakun. You thought and it happened and you're there on the 100th floor. So in this verse, when we are reading that God regulates the command, the amr, from the heaven to the earth, and then it ascends to his presence. Though we are studying this verse in the context of Prophet Muhammad's Miraj, but remember, behind the veil of the Prophet Muhammad's Miraj, there is talim for us, that this Miraj is possible for us as well. Any Mu'min Salik works hard is able to get to that elevator. In the beginning, it is difficult. The cycle of Prophet Muhammad, which was there for 1,000 years, and at the end of that 1,000 years folding, all the souls were folded or were returned, meaning that it is Allah's Qanun that with every prophet, which is for 1,000 years, the timeline is for 1,000 years, the Amr comes down for that Pagambar, and when the Miraj happened, the resurrection, the Qiyamah happens, all the souls are folded. Remember, we were reading about the book of deeds also, that all the records of all those people who are at that time is actually in the embodied Nur. Again, to summarize what we are saying in this chapter 32, verse 5, we are learning that the soul comes from the heavens to the earth and then it ascends. it goes back to the spiritual heaven. G.
Proof 3. In verses chapter 15, verse 14 through 15, the wise Quran says, even if we open the door of heaven for them so that they may continue to ascend all day through it, yet they would say, surely our eyes have been dazzled. Nay, we are a bewitched people. This verse indicates to the wise people that it is possible for people to ascend to the heaven of spirituality spiritually, but only if God opens the door of spirituality. Had it been related to this external and material heaven, there would not have been the mention of the door and its opening. Since the physical heaven does not have a door, and as far as it is concerned, people have started to ascend it themselves, using airplanes and spaceships. In this verse, there is the description of the possible spiritual state which is unveiled suddenly to some people without any preparation, namely spiritual exercise. The eyes cannot bear such observations, and in bewilderment and confusion they are compelled to say that someone has bewitched them.
Subhanallah. So chapter 15, verse 14 and 15 we are studying in this verse. Now, if you look at this paragraph, there are truly very many concepts being discussed. And it says, even if we open the door of heaven for them so that they may continue to ascend all day through it, yet they would say, surely our eyes have been dazzled. Nay, we are bewitched people. So many concepts, soul ascending, door, heaven, very many things are being talked about. This verse indicates to the wise people that it is possible for the people to ascend to heaven of spirituality spiritually, but only if God opens the door of spirituality. So first is the question about the door. The word door is very important to understand. In the hierarchy of religion, when we mention the rank of Bab, which means door, and we always say that the Bab, meaning the upcoming Imam, who is the Hujjat of the Imam, Imam Mubin, Imam Manifest Imam, and the Bab is the door. Door meaning that the door is the personality who has all the secrets of the Imam. In order for one to become one with the Imam, one has to truly merge by entering that door. If we don't enter the door, how would we reach to Imam? And I remember the example, simpler example, in which Prophet Muhammad says that Ana Madinatul Ilm wali babuha, that I am the city of knowledge and Ali is the door. So door is very important. Without entering through the door, there is no possibility that we can get to that spirituality which we are seeking, heaven of spirituality. Now, this door is only opened by God Himself, meaning His Rahmat has to be there. Now, there are those people too that due to their riyazat or even by mistake, when they are able to reach to the first heaven, they see these beautiful lights. Some people think that they have seen the Noor and they are satisfied and they are okay. And some people would say, no, it is all magic. It is all magic to bewilder us, to bewitch us, and it is not the hakikat, meaning they have not entered in the door with complete knowledge and understanding. So what will happen? Even though if they reach the first heaven, they will have no recognition. They will have no understanding. Either they will think they have completed their journey, or they will say, नहीं ये तो जादू हो रहा है हमारे साथ. They will not realize what they have seen. In this verse, then there is a description of the possible spiritual state which is unveiled suddenly to some people without any preparation, namely spiritual exercise. So there are times that it happens that people get to that level, somehow they reach that level, and when they have not done the riyazat or ibadat, what will happen? Their eyes will not be able to tolerate, they will not be able to bear that noor which they see. And even if they see, they'll be confused, and what they'll say, nahi bhai, jadoo kar diya hai. So in reality, what are we learning? Through this verse, we are learning that there is a concept of door, meaning पहला आसमान है, दूसरा आसमान है, तीसरा आसमान है, meaning there is a ladder of darjat. One ladder we complete, we enter into the second ladder, then the third ladder. However, there are conditions one needs to fulfill. Then their tarakki, their progress happens step by step, and they are able to realize, recognize, and accept their tarakki to continue to go up. Now, then there are those who, for whatever reasons, when they reach there, and they have not done the spiritual exercise, meaning what? Ibadat at Nurani time, zikr during the daytime. If their deeds are not pure, if they still think, gossip, judge people, they may reach there sometimes, but they will not be able to tolerate. Meaning they might see the nur, but they will not believe it. They will not be able to tolerate it. And they will leave it. Meaning they will stop doing the ibadah, they will stop elevating themselves. Additionally, we do need to realize that when one does not have knowledge even, same thing will happen to them. They will not be able to understand what is happening, and they will leave it there, and they will stop their progress on by themselves. And what word in Quran is using? That they will say that there is a magic done on them. When they don't understand the ruhaniyat, of course they will call it as magic, because they don't realize that ruhaniyat is so powerful. The majizat of ruhaniyat are so powerful. Now just take the example of the marriage of our prophet. And we have heard the physical stories. What are the stories? That a horse came in with the wings, and Jibril was there to tell him to climb the horse. And then they are going up. And after some time, Jibril says, I cannot go further. You have to go alone. Now, these are all allegories which has Tawili meaning in it actually. But imagine if we are not seekers of Tawil, then this Quranic verse would sound very, very right. That if the door is open to them, let's say during the daytime, somebody has experience of something, what will happen? They will say, oh, it is nothing but a magic which has been done upon us. In opposed to that, those who are seeking for ruhaniyat, for ruhani progress, for them, they will understand that whatever is being talked about as heaven here, it is nothing to do about physical skies, physical heavens. It is all happening within themselves, within their batin. All this recognition is within their batin. And what will happen? All these doors will continue to open for them in their personal world. Now, if it were to be related to going to this sky, then Allama Sahib is giving us example then we don't need to worry about it. People are on their own going there. People are going their spaceships, their aeroplanes. They're going there. How does it relate for us as a spiritual mu'mineen, seeking spirituality, seeking the didar, to be reaching there? If it related to be sitting into the spaceship and reaching there? No. Mu'min Salik does not need to do anything physical as per se, meaning get a ticket, get into the spaceship to elevate to the heavens. No. Mu'min Salik is able to elevate while they are sitting in their Nurani time ibadat, when they are doing Nawafil ibadat, Didar is in the knowledge. All these practices which a Mu'min Salik does for 24 hours helps them open the door after door after door, and they continue to elevate themselves. It does not limit them to that level. Now, in the story of a Pagambar, when we hear that story, that Pagambar went to the heavens on the horse. And I hope that we know the horse actually means Isme Azam. Meaning, if we today also want to elevate ourselves, what do we need to do? We need to ride on the Isme Azam. Ride on the Isme Azam? Meaning doing that ibadat so consistently with such a focus that we are not separate from our Isme Azam. We are not separate from Isme Azam. And the Burak, the name of the horse was Burak, and he was flying. He had wings. All those wings are actually azkar, names of Allah, our zikr, which we do. The more zikr we do, the more wings we will have. Meaning, when we are, imagine ourselves that we are sitting on a horse. A good horse rider is one that the horse does not feel, when you ask those, people who race, and they will describe that there's a connection between the horse and the horse rider. Because the horse does not feel that there is a separation between them, being a horse, and the rider. Now, this is a beautiful understanding for us, seekers of the truth, that when we become one with our Isme Azam, there is no distance, there is no partition between us and our Isme Azam. With that love, we are doing our zikr ibadat, Nurani time as well as other times. When we do ibadat like that, when we are connected to our Isme Azam like that, that it becomes our favorite word. It becomes our beloved word. Why? Because behind that word is actually a curtain, a veil, and behind that word is Imam-e-Zaman. And what do we seek? We seek his didar. We seek his didar. So elevating to the first heaven, meaning that with ilmu amal, zikr ibadat, girya uzari, we are able to cross that first step where we will see some of the signs of Ruhaniyat. Now, there are very many examples of the signs of Ruhaniyat. Remember, this is about the journey of the soul. The journey of the soul in the light of the journey of Prophet Muhammad's Miraj. So what was happening? And we do know that Pagambar actually first time heard the voice. The miracle of opening of ears. Being able to listen to something which is beyond this world. And Allah does give example of mosquito, buzzing of the mosquito. Allah gives that example in Quran, that he does not shy away from giving such a small example, that there could be a buzzing of a mosquito. And Maula Ali is saying is that I am that mosquito. Meaning, what are we saying here? When we do ibadat in such a way, our ears open up, meaning the noor enters through our ears. And if we hear mosquito buzzing or any voice or any sound or any speech, actually that is noor, because Maula Ali says, I am that mosquito. An example is given in Quran for a mosquito buzzing. That is one tiny example which we can hear. There can be very many sounds, very many different sounds which we can hear. Somebody speaking, somebody reciting, somebody singing. All these experiences are there. Now that is opening up of one sense for a very limited duration of the time, depending on how that connection is of ours with that Isme Azam. And along with Isme Azam, during the other time of the day, how much zikr we are doing. The more we are doing zikr and multiple of the zikr, every zikr has its own angel. What is the attribution of angel? Angel flies. So what happens when we are doing the zikr of Isme Azam sitting on that horse? We start having those wings. And Surah Fatir, chapter 35, verse 1 actually says that there is one wing, two wings, three wings, and four wings. And do we think that it is limited to four wings because that's what we read in the Quran? His majizat are unlimited. One can have 1,000 wings. Meaning what? 1,000 zikr? Can one do that? If I'm saying that, meaning that is possible. In Surah Fatir, if you were to read, it talks about one wing name, two wings, three wings. Angels have one wings, two wings, three wings, and four wings. So imagine the speed of that Isme Azam. The speed of the Isme Azam. And we always talk about that it has to be very fast. Sometimes we think that we are going to make it fast. Are we capable of doing anything fast? No. It is during the daytime how much zikr we are doing, how much we are mindful, careful of not sinning, and how much we are in remembrance. Remembrance is through knowledge too, as well as zikr too. But Momin finds all the time to continue the thought, the intellect occupied in these things. So imagine Isme Azam being pulled, or we are assisted by four angels. How fast the speed would be. And then imagine more wings. And we are realizing in this chapter, chapter 15, which is Surah Hajr, 14 and 15. And we are learning about the concept of the door, meaning there are darjat. From each door when we enter, we fana ourselves in that door. Then we enter into the second door, we fana ourselves, we become one with that door. The mercy of the Imam is that when we take one step, we become that step. Then we take another step and we have gotten to the second door, the door merges with us. It is not us that can reach there. Imam comes to us and sits on our heart, comes into our heart. So there is such a beautiful understanding for those salikin, those who are traveler on the path of spirituality. In opposed to those who are not walking on the path, for them, if they were to see this light for one reason or the other, because it is the time of Qiyamah, there are people who pray for the whole Jamaat. There are people. And if some Jamaati member becomes lucky for whatever reason, they had some majiza, will they believe it? No. Either they'll become scared or they'll say, no, somebody is doing black magic, because they will not understand it. So what is the underlying thing here? Knowledge is crucially important. So let's say there are those Mu'minins who are praying for Jamaat and they are doing Girya Uzari and they're praying that Ya Mawla, elevate the ranks of Jamaat. And we are reading this Qanun here. Khuda Ta'ala is saying in the Quran that if they were to get there and if they have not done any spiritual exercise, they will not last there. So what becomes our duty? Those who have been walking on the path, whatever limited we have earned, what becomes our duty? With prayers, invite people to knowledge. Because without knowledge, they will not understand the blessings, even they will get it. So both the things are being told. Meaning, when we look at Paigambar's Mi'raj, those who understand the Ta'wil, they will benefit from the Ta'wil. We just understood the importance of the zikr as well as Isma Azam and the flight and the speed of the flight. We benefited because we understood the Ta'wil of it. But imagine those who think of horse, and having wings and making of these stories and talking about the detail of the stories. All stories. What is the learning behind these stories? Meaning they do not have the true knowledge. And we as Smiley members, Smiley Jamaati members, we want this treasure to be shared with the Jamaat so they can understand the knowledge. And when we pray for Jamaat and when they see the spiritual majizat, they are able to understand it. They also can experience that happiness, that joy, which we experience when we understand something, even in ilmi class. There can be friends here who may have had some experiences and we don't talk about it, and that's okay. But when we learn this in the knowledge classes, how happy we feel. Oh, I know it has happened to me. I now understand it. But you being here and understanding that miracle for yourself shows that you did not quit. You continue to ask questions. What was it? What does it mean? You continue to seek knowledge. And within knowledge, all questions will be answered. Nothing will remain unanswered. And those mominins, for those mominin, what will happen? They will, when they will have this observation, they will be happy. They will be bewildered. And they will say in their heart, I want to know more. So one same verse, the application can be so different. Those who do not have this knowledge, their eyes will not be able to bear what they are seeing. What mushahada, if they are blessed with observations, they will not understand it. They will not be able to tolerate. They will not understand why they are bewildered. And they will end up in confusion. And at the end, they'll say it is all jadoo. But for Momin, there'll be no limit of happiness. The Momin will go in sajda and say, Shukr Guzari, that Mawla, whatever you have given me, I am grateful and I am thankful. I am not worthy, but it is only your mercy. So there is no speck of any pride in us. We continue to work hard and we continue to remain humble. That Mawla, it's all due to you. So that is the beauty when we learn about our Pagambar, that how his journey of Miraj is actually telling us about our journey of soul, our practice of ibadat. Ruh has come from Alam Amar and it is going to go back to it. But what do we need to do? Continue to elevate, continue to climb the ladder. And we do understand in the beginning, the journey is difficult. The beginning is difficult. But when you get to a certain level, oh, then you can take an elevator and climb and go up immediately. But until that time, patience is the key. Until that time, hard work is the key. And then you see the mercy and majiz of Imam, you'll be shocked. You are here, I am here, you'll be shocked. I am telling you that it is mercy of Imam. So Alhamdulillah, I think this is enough for us to reflect and be grateful, do some sujood and seek his rahmat, and inshallah we will continue with the proof number 4. If anyone has any comment or questions, definitely we can come forward.
Subhanallah, subhanallah. It's beautiful to hear, that a lot of experiences Jamaat actually has and we see, but being in those experiences sometimes causes anxiousness or fear. What would you say at that point for the Jamaati member?
So if there is those who do not have knowledge, and this is a question from those who do have knowledge, but due to whatever reason they feel very uncomfortable and they feel anxious or fearful, I would refer a Quranic verse which says that a moment has two experiences at one point in time, and it is called tama and khauf. Tama is desiring for more, what is next, what is more, and khauf, we all know fear. It happens both at the same time. It happens both at the same time when we experience some miracle. If we are able to tolerate, stick around. Continue to do zikr fast. Do not quit, do not give up. Continue to do zikr. When you do that, you actually convey this message to the angels, your own angels, that I want more and I'm not quitting, I'm not living. And then you also, when you're done with your ibadat, when you whatever zikr you're doing, when you're done, you continue to seek mercy and strength, himmat from Imam, to last longer, to be able to see more. Mercy comes from him, courage comes from him. It is not us, it is all him. But when it happens, whatever zikr you are doing, do it faster, stick with it, do not quit. Do not quit. Stay in acceptance if you can. If you cannot, because some experiences can become difficult, it can become difficult. Sometimes some friends have shared that they feel like suffocated, they cannot breathe. At that time, you cannot breathe and you cannot tolerate. So you do need to probably get up, get out of the house. If you're doing tasbih, let's say if you have made an intention to do the tasbih 1,000 times and you're doing and you are probably at 600 times and you feel strange feelings in you, and those are good, welcome that. But if you feel so suffocated that you cannot continue, like you cannot breathe, then I would recommend you to go out of the house and breathe in the open air. What happens when we are doing more and more zikr ibadat, the angels are around us because angels sees this house lit with the light, with the name of Imam. So they visit us. And due to their presence, it becomes sometimes difficult. So there is an experience of anxiety, which we call anxiety, but it's not anxiety as per se. It's just being unaware of that uncertain feeling, because we know the word anxiety, so we label it anxiety, and that's okay. There's nothing, no harm in it. If you're not able to tolerate, leave, get up, get out, drink water, eat something, chew something. But if you're able to, continue to push further. Ji.
There's a beautiful question. What kind of exposures did the writer of this book had, i.e., some extra pointers if you would like to share?
Oh, his life is full of experiences. If you were to read his books, all what he writes actually are his experiences. All. So I do not know in what context you want me to go. There is so much. If you ask me a particular question, it would be easier. But the personality of Allama Sahib, who had been through the level of Haqqul Yaqeen, there are unlimited majizat. Um, and he describes all these miracles actually with the Quranic verses. The more we study Quranic verses, the more we will understand the talimat, and that's the intention, that we continue to read books and understand. So he had seen all these miracles of Prophet Muhammad in his batin, and that's how he's writing, relating it to the Quranic verse. So am I not telling you about him? I am actually.
Subhanallah, subhanallah. There are a couple questions. I will combine both of them. Would that feeling only happen during Bandagi or any other time too? And if you can share some initial experiences for someone as a beginner.
So first is easy. It can happen anytime. Ibadat time, it can happen anytime. But if you are, when you call beginner, I'm poor, so how do I say it? But those who do abundant zikr. And when I say abundant zikr, meaning 1,000 times or 10,000 times or 100,000 times, that's abundant zikr. When they do that kind of zikr and they have habit of doing that kind of zikr, then the majizat can happen during the zikr time or bandagi time or wherever, anywhere. If this Mu'min Salik is conscious of their deeds all the time and they intentionally keep this habit of staying in remembrance with the name of Imam all the time, they are very mindful of their thoughts, majizat can happen anytime. And they will also know how to handle it, because the courage also comes from him. So the word beginner, I do not know how would you describe that beginner. Beginner could be a weak person for me, I would say, and a beginner could be you who may do abundant zikr 100,000 times in a day. So for you, it can happen anytime. It can happen in ibadat time too. So the word beginner becomes a challenging. It depends on how you are practicing. Speed of progress is actually on us. Ji.
Subhanallah, Subhanallah. Shafina Saba, if you have a question, you can unmute and come forward.
Cannot hear you, Shafina. Naveen Saiba?
If any other friend has any comments or any question, you can come forward.
Or they can share it with you for the next class.
Sounds good. Yes. Thank you, Niamat Saiba, for a wonderful class. Thank you, friends. Yali Madad.
Yali Madad, Yali
Thank you
Madad,
so much, Yalimata.
Yali Madad, thank you.
Yali Madad, Yali Madad.
Thank you and Yali